Hello team, so from quite some time I have been receiving a request to make video on Azure DevOps YAML pipeline, and that's exactly what we are going to do in this video. So basically in this video I'm going to show you how to set up Azure account, how to create organization, how to set up project, and how to write YAML pipeline from scratch for CI and CD. That means in using that pipeline we are going to build our application, integrate different security aspect, and then deploy the application to AKS cluster. And all those things will be shown from step by step, and we are also going to follow the best practices. So if you want to learn it from scratch and if you want to become expert in writing YAML pipelines, then this video is for you. Trust me, after watching this video completely, you'll be able to write the pipeline from scratch very easily. Okay, so yeah, with that being said, let's get started. And again team, I'm saying do not miss this video, because if you miss any of the steps, you might be getting a lot of issues while implementing the same thing on your machine, right? So yeah, so watch the video till end so that you don't miss out any of the thing. And with that being said, let's get started. So team, now let me explain you all the steps that we have to follow, and I'm going to explain all those things in phases so that it is easier for you to understand the workflow. Okay. So first we have phase 1. In that, what we have to do, in that we have to set up our Azure account. We need to make sure that we have an Azure Microsoft account created using which we can set up our Azure account. Okay. That will be easy part. That will be in phase 1. Phase 2. So in phase 2, we are going to perform the task for infra setup. Infra setup is what? First, we have to set up the environment in which we are going to work. Then we are going to set up the clusters on which we are going to deploy. So inside infra setup, first we have to set up Azure DevOps organization. Now Azure DevOps organization is the place where we are going to set up our project and repository and pipelines. Okay, so that we have to set up first. After that, we are going to set up AKS cluster. AKS is what? Azure Kubernetes service. So this will be the Kubernetes service managed by Azure team. Okay. After that, we are going to set up ACR. ACR is what? Azure Container Registry. So generally we use Docker Hub repository where we push our like Docker images. But here for security reasons, we are going to use a private Docker registry, which will be ACR. Okay. In addition to that, in infra, yeah, this is fine. So this will be phase 2. Okay. Now talking about phase 3. So in phase 3, first of all, inside our Azure, this is our Azure DevOps organization. Okay. So inside Azure DevOps organization, first we are going to set up our project. Okay. Inside the project, we are going to set up a project repository. Okay. And in addition to project repository, what we are going to do, we are going to also set up a pipelines. Okay, the YAML pipelines that we have to write. Now the thing is in Azure DevOps, if you want to run your pipeline, you have to set up your own agent. Agent is nothing but same as slave or like runner. In GitLab CI/CD we have runners to run our application. Then in Jenkins we have slave where we execute all the commands and build our application. So similar to that, in Azure DevOps we have to set up an agent. Okay, after that is done, pipeline and everything is written, then we have phase 4. Now in phase 4, we are going to set up monitoring. Okay, so that we can monitor our application. Okay, so all those things will be covered in the video. So yeah, again I'm saying team, if you'll be able to understand everything properly if you're following the video properly, because everything I'm going to show from scratch. Okay, now let us begin. So first thing that you have to do, first you can let me log out so that I can show you from scratch. Sign out. So here, first of all, what you have to do, you have to go on a browser and you have to type portal.azure.com. Okay, and it is going to ask you to like create an account. If you're doing this for the first time, you have to create an account. For example, if I click on use another account, here you have this option, create one. Okay, so you have to create a new account. Basically, you have to create a new Microsoft account, and once we have done, then you'll be able to log in. And then after that, you have to provide other details like the details of like a name, a mobile number, then one debit card or credit card also you have to add. Okay, it's going to charge 2 rupees for now, but later on it will be required. Just to let you know that batch 7 of DevSecOps and Cloud DevOps Bootcamp is starting from 2nd of November. But if you enroll today, you can use a new coupon SHACK7, which is going to give you a discount on this price. And also team, this course is completed with DevSecOps practices, different security tools, and also Azure DevOps for the Cloud DevOps part. talking about the most important thing, the project. So we are going to have 10 or 11 hands-on project, and these are going to be in different kind, multi-tier with Node.js, MySQL, .NET with MongoDB, Python with Postgres. So this kind of project I'm showing so that you can understand in real time how do we integrate database with our project. Plus there will be a microservice project, full stack projects in Java, Python and .NET, portfolio website. Then for monitoring, we are going to have project on Kubernetes worker node monitoring and application deployed in Kubernetes monitoring. Terraform and Ansible corporate project. So this is going to be one project that I have actually worked in, and this is going to give you a real-time experience on what kind of project and how do we use in Terraform and Ansible in real time in companies. Then service mesh with ICO project. Now these are the projects that we are going to implement hands-on. Plus there will be 5 projects that will be corporate project. So if you are planning to transition to DevOps domain, then obviously you need to understand what kind of projects we used to work on. So I'm going to explain in detail with architecture what kind of projects exist in companies, so that you can understand in real time like what kind of task we do and what kind of projects exist. So that will be really useful if you are going for interviews. Plus dedicated doubt support will be there. In addition to me, there will be 2 more people in the in this batch 7 which is who are going to support you with your issues and doubts. Okay, so yeah, 𝗕𝗿𝗃7 coupon is valid just for today. So if you're interested, you can enroll, and all the detailed information about this course will be in the description. You can check it out. So team, first of all, what you have to do, go on browser and just type create Azure free account. So if you are doing this for the first time, Azure will give you an option to get a free account which has some credits using which you can create resources. So search for that and click on the first link, and once it opens you can click on start free, and then you have to create account. Now if you are doing this for the first time, you can click on use another account, click on create one, click on this, yeah, create one. And here you have to provide some details like you have to create one email, basically a Microsoft account, which will be used for creating the Azure DevOps account. Okay, so once you have created this Azure account, you have to provide details like your name, your mobile number and a debit card. Okay, once all those things are done, then you can simply go on browser and type portal.azure.com. It's going to take you to another page where you have to log in with your new fresh Microsoft account. For example, I can log in with this. And once you log in, it's going to take you to this page. Now, what we need to understand very clearly about Microsoft is that there in Azure, 2 things are there. One is Azure Cloud and one is Azure DevOps. Okay. Main difference between these two is that now Azure Cloud is the place where you can create different resources and manage them. Resources are like what? Kubernetes cluster, container registry, virtual machines, or any other resource you can create and you can manage them. Plus you can create like add users like who will be having the permission to manage those. Okay. In Azure DevOps, basically what we do, we perform CI/CD, build and deploy applications properly. And see, for example, like if I want to deploy my application to AKS cluster, so AKS cluster will be created here in Azure Cloud, but using Azure DevOps, I can deploy my application to here. So remember that Azure DevOps purely for CI/CD, while Azure Cloud is the place where you can create and manage resources. Okay. So once you go to this page, portal.azure.com, and log in with your Microsoft account, it will take you to this page. Okay. Immediately you have to search here as Azure DevOps. Once you search, this is our first option that comes, click on that, Azure DevOps organization. Then you have to go to on left side, click on this one, and now the page that is going to open, it is going to ask you to create an organization. Since you are doing this for the first time, so you have to click on create new organization. Organization is what? It's simply a place where you can create your project, manage them and properly work with them. Okay. So organization name, you can put whatever you want. For example, I'll just go with DevOps 𝗕𝗃1. Okay, and this option location, you have to select the one that is nearest to you, and then you have to provide captcha. Let me provide this TKW, and then click on continue. This is going to create your Azure DevOps organization. Okay, so let's wait for this to complete. Okay, this may take like few seconds. Okay, so it is done. Now first thing that you have to do is create a project. Now on left side you will be able to see DevOps 𝗕𝗃1 and 7. 7 was some other organization that I created with the same account. That means you can create multiple organization, and inside each organization you can have multiple projects as well. Okay, so first, as of now, we are going to work with DevOps 𝗕𝗃1. So here I'm going to provide the name as multi-tier application. This is going to be the project name. Okay, and as of now this project is private. That means only the people who are having access to this organization can see the project. Okay, so click on create project. Okay, and let's wait for this. So once your project is created, here you can see basic information about the project. For example, project stats, like how many pipelines are successful, those kind of information. Then we have members, like how many people are having access to this project. Then we have boards. Boards is kind of like similar to Jira ticketing tool. Okay, here you can create tickets and like basically track your work progress. Okay, we are not going very much detail in boards, that will be done later on. Then we have repository. So this is the place where you can create your like you can store your project source code. Then we have pipelines. Here you can create your CI/CD pipeline. Then we have test plans. So whatever you have big test cases and everything, you can execute them and the results will be here. Then we have artifacts, where we can store our project artifacts like jar file, var file, and all those things we can store. Okay. Now, first thing that we can do is like set up our project repository. Okay. So here, one thing you should understand ki Azure repo follows the Git. Okay, that means ki all the Git commands will work here fine. So here you have the repository URL. You can generate the username password using Git credentials. Okay, but if your source code is already present on GitHub, then you simply have to copy the URL of the repository and then scroll down to and click on import. Now this can import directly from your GitHub account to Azure repo. So here you have to provide the URL. Now if your repository is public, like this is public, so we can simply click on import. But if it is private, then you have to click on requires authentication, provide username and personal access token. Okay, so as of now my project is already public, so I can click on import. And this may take few seconds or few minutes, so that the project is present here. Okay, the repository is cloned, so we will wait for it. Okay, so now repository is set up. If I click on repository, you can see main branch is present with along with all the files. Okay, so this is fine. Next thing what we have to do, so if I show you again, organization is set up. We have to set up AKS and ACR. Okay, now AKS and ACR I'm going to set up afterward, after I have written half the pipeline, because since they are they are going to cost some money when you create, so I want to create it as that when the time comes for me to use it. Okay, so I'll create AKS and ACR after some time. Now what we can do, we have to add the agent. Okay, now for agent what we have to do, we have to create a virtual machine. So first we will go to here, let me remove the previous machines. One second, let me go here, refresh the page. Okay, and yeah, just to let you know the security group that I am using, so let me show you the ports that I have opened. These are the ports that I have opened actually. Okay, coming back here, we can go to instances running, click on launch instance, and since we want that there should be one SonarQube server as well, so I'm going to create two virtual machine, one for the agent, one for the SonarQube server. And we can select Ubuntu machine, version will be 24.04, and then we can select the instance type. Instance type I'm going to go with T2 medium, and key, so we are already having on our local. In case you don't have, you can click on create new key pair, provide a name, click on RSA and make sure format is PEM and click on create key pair. And as soon as you click on create key pair, that local key pair will be downloaded on your local. So we can select them, and the security group that I just showed you, I can select that as well. Okay, storage I'm going to give 25 to each one of them and click on launch instance. Okay, and yeah, so these machines are created. We can name them. First I'm going to call as an agent AZ, and second one will be SonarQube server. Okay, first open the agent, get the public IP address, go to your MobaX term. Let me close this and let me create fresh. So click on session, SSH, and then username. Username is going to be Ubuntu since we have created Ubuntu machine. Then we have to select the private key. Select that, click on open and click on OK. Now let us just rename this to something that is like familiar to us. For example, I can name this to agent, and let us give a color also. I'll just go with blue something. Okay, and let us connect to this again. Okay, this is done, and let me refresh the let me clear the screen. And first command that we are supposed to run, sudo apt update, and let's wait for this to complete. Now, since we are working with Java based project, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to set up Java directly on this machine itself so that it is easier for us to work with. Okay, and let's wait for this. Okay, so first I can check if Java is present or not, and as we can see, it's not present, but we get the command to install it. So I'm going to install JDK 17. Okay, Java is done, and we can install 𝗲𝘲 as well. Sudo apt install 𝗲𝘲. Okay. Now, in addition to 𝗲𝘲, as I told that we are also going to integrate security checks also within our pipeline. So we are going to integrate 𝗲𝘁𝗲 also. Okay. So for installing 𝗲𝘲𝗲, you can simply go on browser and you can search for 𝗲𝘲𝗲 install Ubuntu, something like that. Click on the first link. Select the correct flavor of your machine. So we have Ubuntu machine. I can copy this set of commands and I can paste it here. And it's going to install 𝗲𝘲𝗲. Okay. Now, coming back to our Azure DevOps. So here, next thing that we have to do is we have to add the agent. For that, we have already created the virtual machine. Next step is to click on project settings and let it open. Here, scroll down to agent pools. So agent pools is like, you can say, you can assume it like a folder inside which whatever agent we add, it will be stored inside that. So first we have to create a pool. Let us and pool type, we have to select self-hosted since we are going to work with our own virtual machine. Pool name, I'm going to provide name, let's say dev pool. Okay, name you can put whatever you want, and I can click on this also, grant access permission to all pipelines. So within this project, we all the pipelines will be having permission to run their pipelines on this agent. Okay, click on create. Now agent is pool is created. Now we can click on this, click on agents, click on new agent. And now based on your machine, you can decide which machine you want to make an agent. So for us, it's going to be Linux. Now here are the steps that we have to follow. So first command is this. We have to download the agent package. And this package contains all the files required for a VM to become an agent. So I have copied this and I can go back to my machine. Here I can run the command wget and the URL that we just copied. Click on that. It's going to download the package. Next step is what? Next step is we have to create a directory and go inside that directory. So we will copy that and we can paste here. Now we are inside directory. Now what we have to do, the agent package that we just downloaded, we have to extract it. So for that I can run tar-xvf, then path of this home Ubuntu, then vsts package. Okay. Now this is going to extract it. So let's wait for this. Okay, that is done. And now if I run ls, you can see all these files are there, right? And you can see there are tons of shell script, right? Out of which 2 shell script that we should be aware about. First one, config.sh, second one, run.sh. Config.sh is the shell script that is going to help you configure this VM as an agent. Run.sh is the shell script that is going to start the agent. Okay, so first we have to execute configure. Okay, because we want to configure this agent. I can see it says Azure Pipelines agent version 3.246. Okay, and here we have enter so and so. So I'm going to put Y and click enter. Then server URL we have to give. So server URL is going to be the organization URL till this one, till organization name. Copy that, paste it here. Then for authentication, because this virtual machine needs to be authenticated with our organization. So for that we can use PAT, which is personal access token. So click enter, and we have to provide personal access token that we will be able to get by clicking on this user settings. So click on that, go to second last option which says personal access tokens, then click on new token. And here you can provide any name. I'm just going with token, and then you can select the organization. So as of now, we are going with DevOps Shack 1. And expiration. So expiration I'm just going to set up as 30. Now tokens, we can have multiple tokens with different level of permissions, right? You can see here like what kind of permission you want to give to tokens. So for now I'm just going with full access. Okay, because same token we are going to use everywhere. So click on create and make sure to copy this token and save it somewhere. Why? Because this token won't be visible afterwards. So I will just save it on my machine. And once you have saved it, we can go back to VM and paste the token here, click enter, and you can see it says connecting to server. So yeah, now we want to give information about agent pool, which agent pool we want to connect to. So if I go back to my organization, go to project settings, scroll down to agent pool. So we have created an agent pool named dev pool. Okay, just copy that name, put it in VM. Okay, and now we have to provide name for agent. You can put any name you want. I'm just going with agent-1. Click enter. Now you can see successfully added the agent. How we can confirm? You can see as of now, if I click on agent, you can see one agent is added, but it's not in running state. It's in offline state, right? So we can go back here. It is asking enter work folder. So this is underscore work folder is going to be the workspace inside which we are going to store all the pipelines, artifacts and everything. So click enter. It says settings saved. Now we have added the agent, right? But agent is in offline state, right? How we can start it? So for that, I told you we have shell script run.sh, which we can run now. As soon as I click enter, it's going to bring the agent in online state. You can see it says connected now. You can see here it says listening for jobs. That means now it is waiting for any pipeline to get executed on this VM. Okay, and also if you go here, you can see here online. That means now agent is online. Okay, so this part is done. Now we can go ahead and start writing our CI/CD pipeline in YAML. Okay, so we can click on pipeline, click on create pipeline, click on the first option because that's where our code is stored. Click on that, select the project, and for now just go with starter pipeline. Okay, now we have to do a lot of things, and just follow the video properly, then you'll be able to understand everything. Okay, so first option that you are able to see here, trigger. So basically, if you want to automate, if you want to set up webhooks so that if you are pushing any kind of thing in your specific branch and you want that pipeline should be triggered, so you can configure that. So here it is written by default main. That means if I push anything to main branch, it's going to trigger the pipeline. But since we are writing for the first time, so I'm not going to enable the pipeline for enable the trigger now. Okay, so I remove main, then double press space 2 times. Okay, and then just write none. This means that now there is no trigger. So pipeline we can run manually only. Okay, let me remove this first. Okay, next we have pool. So basically here we have to define in which agent we want to run our pipeline. So for that you have to write in a specific format, which is going to be something like this. Let me explain you in a bit. First we have pool, and then we have written name. So this is the name of the pool. In our case, it's going to be dev pool, correct? Demands. So demands is basically conditions. So what condition we are setting? We are setting condition that inside this pool, you have to search for agent whose name equals to agent1, right? That's what we have set up. If I show you again, you can see agent1, and this is the pool name, correct? Now we have defined that, okay, our pipeline is supposed to run on this agent. So now we have defined that our pipeline is supposed to run on this agent. Now we can write these stages. So first you have to write stages, okay? Colon, click enter, press space 2 times, hyphen, space, stage. Okay, now you can give it a name. So it's, for me, it's going to be compile. First we want to run the compile, then click enter, then press space 2 times, then write display name and capital, colon, and in quotes you can write whatever you want to do. So I want to write the name as Maven compile. Okay, after that we have to again press enter. Then here you have to write jobs, because inside one stage there could be multiple jobs. Okay, so inside jobs, click enter, and then space 2 times, hyphen, space, job, then job name. So job name that we are going to have, it's, let's say I'll just write again Maven underscore compile. Okay, okay. Now here below jobs, what we have to write? We have to write steps, colon, click enter, 2 spaces. Okay, and once we have written, then you can click on show assistant. Here you can search for Maven, click on the first option, and here it says we have to set up one Azure service connection also. Okay, as of now we have pay as you go, which is the subscription. Okay, but here what we are going to do, we are going to set up one service principal. So instead of using this subscription, we can use service principal, which is going to be having specific level of permission. We can decide what level of permission we'll be having, because if I just go with this subscription, then it gives complete level of permission, which I don't want. Okay, so here first I will, okay, I don't want to run it right now, so let me just copy it somewhere, Meanwhile, we can go ahead and we can create our service principal. Okay, so for creating service principal, what we have to do, we can go back to Azure DevOps, Azure Cloud place. Then there is a document for creating the service principal. So let me follow the document and let me explain you side by side. Also, just to let you know, service principal is going to be an entity that is going to have permission to perform different things. As I said, if I just use the subscription, then it's going to have complete permission, like owner level permission. But service principal, we will give it limited permission to perform the required things. Okay. So we have to go there and we have to search for Azure Active Directory. Go on browser and here you have to type Azure Active Directory. Now the first option that comes, this Microsoft Enter ID, you can click on that. Then on left side, go to this manage and scroll down to app registrations. Click on that and click on new registration. Now this is the name that we can provide. So I'm just going to provide the name as DevOps Shack Aditya. Okay. Then here we don't have to change anything. Simply click on register. Okay. Now this information that you are able to see, client ID, tenant ID, we have to make sure that you are saving it somewhere. Okay. So I will just copy this whole thing. And I will paste it here. This is our client ID. And then we have the tenant ID because this will be needed later on. So we will copy it. Once we have done that, what is the next step? So next step we have scroll down to generate a client secret. Okay. So here basically, since we are going to use them for like so many different things, so we need to make sure that they have certain level of like the way we need to make sure that they have some level of authentication. So we can click on new client secret and description. You can just put anything, for example, like CICD. And expiration you can select and click on add. Then here you can see value and secret ID. So make sure to copy that as well. And this is going to be the value and this is going to be the secret ID. So we can store it. Okay. Once that part is done, next step would be to give them a certain level of permission. Okay. So what we have to do, we already have the client ID and tenant ID, right? Then we have to assign rules to service principal. So basically what we want, this is a kind of best practice. So we want that service principal should have like a specific level of permission. So what I'm going to give now, I'm going to give it contributor. Okay. So for that, what we have to do, first we have to go to home and you can go to subscription or you can directly search here. And in subscription, let's wait for this, select the one that you are already having now. Okay. Then click on access control IAM. So once this page appears, you have to click on add role assignment. And here we can decide what kind of permission we want to give. Okay. So for example, if I click on this privileged. So now this is some higher level of permission. So for now, I will go with contributor. It has access below owner. Okay. So I can select this. And then meanwhile in members, you have to click on select members. And let's wait for this to come up. Here we have to provide DevOps Shack Aditya. This is the application, right? So select that. And in role also we have selected contributor. Next, click on next. And again click on next. Review and assign. So now the service principal that we just created, it's going to have the permission that we have given, which is role assignment. Okay. So this part is done. Next step is, so now we have to create the service connection. So we can click on project settings, scroll down and click on service connection, click on create service connection, select Azure Resource Manager, click on next. And here we can select service principal manual because in automatic, it may not be able to fetch. Okay. Sometimes that issue happens. So for that reason, I'm saying go with manual, click on next. Now here we have to give the subscription ID. So we have the subscription ID. If I show you, if I go to home page, and you have to go on your subscription, which is, we can click here, and this is the subscription ID. Okay. So we can copy this and paste here. Then here we have subscription name. In our case, subscription name is pay as you go. So I'll copy that as well, paste here. Then we have a service principal ID. you can see it says client ID, right? So client ID we have already saved, and we have, this is the client ID, so I can copy this, paste it here. Okay, then we have service principal key. Okay, for that we have to paste this one. First one I'll copy. This is the client secret that we created. Copy that. Then we have tenant ID. Let me copy tenant ID as well. Paste here, and we can verify one time. Okay, you can see verification successful. Okay, just to make sure that you remember, in service principal key we have to give, that is a client certificate value. This value I have added, not the secret ID. Okay, remember that. Now this is done. We can scroll down in service name. So I can provide the service name as ARM-SVC. Okay, and this will be given to all the pipelines. So we can verify and save now. Now we can go back to our pipeline, click on edit. Okay, and now below, see, again I'm telling you 2 times space, go here, search for Maven, click on this service connection, so the one that we just created, and goal. So goal we have as of now is compile. Okay, scroll down, and we don't have to change anything as of now, so click on add. Okay, this part is done. Next, again we have to write the stage 2. Stage 2 again we can write, which is going to be, remember that here we have to give 2 space hyphen stage. Okay, then next stage would be run the test cases. So I'll write test, display name, and here it's going to be Maven test. Okay, that is done. Then we can write jobs colon space hyphen job, correct, and here we have to provide the name as Maven underscore test. Okay, then again display name, which is going to be unit test cases we can write. Okay, then we have steps colon enter 2 space, and then we can again search here for Maven, which is going to be this one. Connection we can select the one that we created, and this is going to be test, correct, and add it. Now just to confirm that the stages that we are writing, they are properly formatted and they are currently correctly written, we can run this pipeline one time. So I can click on save, click on run, and let us see what happens, so that we can confirm that it works fine now. Then we can go ahead and then we can add the other stages. And in this format you'll be able to see, if I click on jobs, there also you'll be able to see we have 2 jobs as of now. You can click here and you can see it has started. Same thing we'll be able to notice here. You can see running job Maven compile. So this is happening and it seems that it works fine. Okay, then we have test cases. I can see waiting for the agent to receive and acknowledge the request. And as soon as the agent is acknowledged that, okay, we have second job, so it is going to run. Okay, that means, okay, we are able to write this stage. Now let us write all the other stages that we have. Okay, let it be run. Meanwhile, let us write our other stage. So we can click on edit. Okay. So next stage would be for writing the 𝗗𝘁 file system scanning. How we can do that? 2 space hyphen stage colon then 𝗗𝘁 underscore fs underscore scan. Okay, display a name, and it is going to be 𝗗𝘁 fs scan. Okay, then we have to write jobs colon 2 space hyphen space job colon, and it will be let us call it as again 𝗏 underscore fs underscore scan, and here we can do space give display name colon, and again in colon we can write 𝗏 fs scan. Okay, this part is done. Then steps colon enter to space, and now here we have to search for cmd. Search cmd, select it, and here we can write the 𝗏 steps. We can write in this format 𝗏 fs hyphen format, and then we can write after format we have to write we want the results in table format, and then a report should be exported in a third-party file which should be having extension of fs.html, and I want to scan the current directory. Okay, this is fine, and I can add this. So 3 stages we have written as of now. Now comes the best part, which is let me save this first. So now we can start writing for the 𝗏𝘁𝗶𝗴 analysis. Okay, so for writing 𝗏𝘁𝗶𝗴 analysis stage, what we have to do, first of all, click on this marketplace, click on browse marketplace, click wait for it, and here we have to type 𝗏𝘶𝗃. Simply just search sonar, and let's see. So first option that comes, you can need to click on this, click on get it free. So this page will open, and here you can select the organization on which you want to install. So we'll go with DevOps Shack 1, and now we can click on install. This will take few minutes to install, and once this extension is installed, then we'll be able to have the commands. Okay, click on proceed to organization. Again we can go to our project pipelines, the first one, and click on edit. Okay, now we have to set up 𝗏𝘁𝗃 server. So let us see if we have created already machine. Okay, so we have the 𝗏𝘁𝗃 server, so we can open this and get the public IP address, go to MOBA extern, get a duplicate of existing session, click on rename. First we can rename it to sonar, then change the IP address. Okay, click on OK and double click here. Okay, so now we have to install 𝗏𝘁𝗃 server. Okay, first command that we have to run sudo apt update. After that we are going to install Docker, and let's wait for this. Okay, I can type Docker and we can use this command to install it, -y. Okay, and by default only root user has permission to run Docker commands, so we need to give Ubuntu user the permission to run the Docker commands. So for that we have to wait for some time. Let's wait for this to get installed. Okay, now let me change the permission, so I can run the command sudo usermod -a capital G, group name is Docker and username is Ubuntu. And then for changes to get applied, I can run the command new group Docker. Okay, and now I can run the command as Docker run -d-p, then port 9000 colon 9000, which is going to be container port, then the Docker image name which we have sonar cube colon lts dash community. It's going to set up a Docker container for 𝗏𝘁𝗃, and we can, after it is container is created, we can access 𝗏𝘁𝗃 on the browser over this IP address with colon 9000, which is the port for 𝗏𝘁𝗃. Okay, and I can go here, I can type this colon 9000, and let's see, let us just confirm Docker ps. So it has started to run, and let me refresh the page. Yeah, it's no HTTPS. Okay, you can see 𝗏𝘁𝗃 is starting. That means it is working fine now. So let's wait for this to come up, and we need to configure and get the token for this. Since it just started, so it's taking a little bit more time. So yeah, just be patient. Initial password is going to be admin, so I can copy paste it here. Click on login, and old password is admin. New password, we can set up whatever we want. Confirm password, and it's going to be the new password. Okay, click on update. Next thing that we have to do is get the token from here. For that, we can click on administration, security, users, tokens, and here we can put a name and generate the token. Now copy that token. Now we can go back here. Here we need to go to project settings, scroll down to service connection. So for this also we have to create service connection. Click on new service connection, search here as Sonar, and this option comes. Click on next, server URL. First we can copy the token, then server URL. Server URL is this one, so I can copy till 9000. Okay, connection name, so we are going to provide the connection name as sonar-svc. I want to give permission to all and click on save. This is created. Now we can go to our pipeline, and now can add the Sonar stage. So for adding Sonar stage, again we can put new stage, which is going to be, name is going to be 𝗤𝘗𝗏. Display name is going to be Sonar analysis. Display name is basically a keyword. Okay, and here we have jobs, colon, then two space job, then it's going to be 𝗤𝘗𝗏. Okay, after job we have to write steps, colon, enter, two space. Here we have to search now Sonar. So first we have to run 𝗤𝘗𝗏 analysis. Click on that, select the service connection, select the standalone Sonar CLI version. We will just leave it as, and here we have to, you can select manually provide the configuration. Project key, it's going to be bank app, or whichever you want you can choose. Same thing will be the name of project. Project version we can leave it as it is, and this is also same. Here in additional, like you can add, for example, I want to add sonar.java.binaries. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so we want to give the path also, like where exactly binaries file exists. So I can just put a dot. That means like in the current directory, usually it exists in target folder, but I'll just give it dot just to make sure that it does not fail. Okay, click on add. Once we have added this, we can again click enter, and we have to add one more stage, which is going to be, I will search again Sonar, and here we have to search 𝗤𝘗𝗏 analysis. Simply click on add. Now these two tasks are added in the same job. Okay, now we can validate and say, okay, we have some issue. Display name, okay, here N should be capital. This is quite good thing because it tells you also that pipeline is valid or not. Okay, so let me run this just to confirm that Sonar stage is also working fine. Okay, so meanwhile this is happening, what we can do, we can go ahead and we can create our container registry, and we can create the AKS cluster. So we can go to Azure cloud. Here you can search for AKS first, or before that let us search for container registries. Container registry. You have this option, click on that. Okay, and let me remove the older one because we are going to create new, so I'll just delete the old one. Okay, and now let us create new one. Click here, click on create. Resource group, if you want you can select the existing one, or you can create new one. So I'll just provide new name like let's say batch 7. See, whatever you want, it's up to you, whatever name you want. So I will just go with batch 7. Click on OK. Registry name, so that also I can give as batch 7. Okay, we don't, 1 second. It's going to verify. DevOps stack is fine. Location you can select. Pricing plan, I'm just going with basic, so that because we don't want we want to do it for demo, so we don't, there is no requirement to do everything like the premium version. So we can click on next. Networking, click on next. See, because you know we have taken the like basic version, so that's why we are not getting the premium option. Since we have not taken premium, so private option is not available. Click on next, 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 and now let's click on create. So validation is passed, and now this container registry will be created. Okay. So meanwhile this is getting done, we can again go here and we can search for AKS. Click on Kubernetes services, click on create, click on second option, Kubernetes cluster, and let's wait for the option. Okay. So resource group. So we are going to create the cluster also inside batch 7. And here, see, since you are going to do it for practice, so just select dev test. It's going to cost very less. Cluster name, so I can type the name as DevOps Shack -AKS. Region you can select. Availability zones, no, none. Free tier we are taking. Present tier is free. Version automatically it will select the default one, so we'll just leave it as it is. Now extra no feature I'm adding here. Okay, node image. So here no schedule, and this is fine. Click on next. I think we have not selected all the options, so we have to select. Let's go previous. Yes. Okay, so here now we have to click on next. Agent pool. So you can see 8 vCPU needed for this configuration, but only like it, this node image, node size is not available. So we are going to click on agent pool, scroll down to choose a size for node size. So click on that. Now the problem here that you'll be able to face, that B2S, it is the least pricey. It costs around 2,720 per month. Okay, but if I click on that and select it, it won't be able to work because okay, let me try only annual, and I want to have 2 nodes. Update. Here you can see B series node size cannot be scheduled. That means we cannot schedule that, so we have to change it. So we are going to go with this one because this is the second least charging, 3,700 something. Okay, so we'll select that. 2 nodes is fine. Click on update, and this is selected. Okay, scroll down and click on next. And network configuration, you can just leave it as it is. You don't need to change it. Click on next, and here container registry, so we have already created, we can select the one that we created. Click on next, scroll down, and so we don't want to use monitoring using this, and because it's going to charge a little bit more, so I don't want to use it now. Click on next, next, and now it's going to validate. So let's wait for this. Okay, now it is fine, so we can click on create. And yeah, creation of this AKS cluster, this may take some time because it's quite big, like long process, so it will take some time. So we will just leave it as once it is completed, we will be getting notified here itself. Okay, now we can go back to our pipeline, and stages are fine. Sonar is also done. We can verify by going to projects. Here we can see that SonarQube analysis is working fine. Okay, now let us go with next stages of the pipeline. Click on this, click on next, scroll down. Sonar is done, preview is done. Next step would be to build the application and publish the artifact to like artifact repository. In our case, it's going to be artifacts. So click on this, and here in Nexus, what we had in Nexus, we have the option of Nexus repositories. Here, those repositories are going to be called as feed. Okay. So here by default one feed will be available, DevOps Shack, whatever your organization name is there. If you want to create new feed, you can click on create feed. You can, let's say I'm going to select, let's say Dev Shack -Maven. Okay, and here visibility you can select. So I'm going to go with members of DevOps Shack. upstream resources. For example, like see, there are other like outside of repositories also. If you want to include package from common public sources like Maven Central and these, so you can include this. Scope, I'm going to set the scope to project only so that this feed can be utilized within the project. So click on create. Now this is created, but we have to do some settings. If I click on this feed details, you can see whatever basic feed details, then we have permissions. Okay. Now, why this is important? Because you need to make sure that you have this user group available and added. Okay, 1 second. The format is going to be project name, then you have to write build service, then DevOps Shack organization name. So make sure that this is present, because if this is not present, then you won't be able to have the permission to publish or use it. Okay, let me just check the permissions also. I'll go with edit. So I'm going to give feed publisher contributor so that it can publish. Okay, click on save. This is fine. So we have created DevShack Maven. Now we can go back to our pipeline, edit this, scroll down. Okay, now what we have to do, let me create this stage. So first we are going to write stage, which is going to publish artifacts. Okay, and display name is going to be, it's going to be publish build artifacts. Okay, and in next line we are going to have jobs colon, we have one job, which is again same thing, we are going to write publish artifacts, and here we have steps, or we can write it display name as well, display name, same thing we can write. Okay, after that we have these steps colon space. Now first, see, because we want to publish to feed, we need to make sure that from this pipeline the permission is allowed. That means we need to authenticate. So here I'm going to search Maven, and second option that you see, Maven authenticate, select that, then expand this, and we have to select what, intra workload ID backend backed Azure DevOps user service connection. Okay, let us select feed. So we are going to use this, and credentials. So this is not required because repository is outside the organization. So repository is not outside the organization, right? Repository is within. So this is not required. This thing we have to, let's say this intro back to will be okay. So let us try this one time first. Okay, and here before this runs, we have to run few more things, which is going to be, let me because we need to build the project, right? So I'm going to select this, run package, we can run deploy also. Okay, and let us try what happens. Let us validate and save, and let's see if it is able to work or not. So before we start the pipeline, what we have to do, go to repositories, go to pom.xml, scroll down at the end, click on edit, and here this section is there. So we have to copy this. So we have to copy this project setup, this part, and we have to add it in our YAML file, sorry, pom.xml file. So we have to go to repository, go to pom.xml, make sure you are in edit mode, and replace this with the one that you just received. Okay, click on commit. This is basically the repository URL. Okay, once we have done that, then you can go to your pipeline, and then we can run our pipeline. Okay, and yeah, so this may take some time, so let's wait for this to complete. So team, the pipeline just completed, and as we can see here, After authentication of Maven is able to publish the artifact. Okay, and here we can go, we can refresh the page, and inside DevOps Stack Maven repo of feed, you can see the artifact is present. Okay, so this stage is also working fine. Next thing that we have to do is build Docker image. Then we have to publish that Docker image to to our Azure Container Registry. Okay, so we will come down, and here let us add the stages. Now before that, what we have to do, we have to give permission to the agent, or basically our we have to install Docker in our virtual machine. Okay, so for that, first of all, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go on browser and search for install Docker Ubuntu. Okay, click on the first link, and the reason that I'm installing from this official page instead of directly installing on Linux repository, because from here we'll be able to get the latest version. Just to show you, if I search Docker, you can see it's not present, but we have these steps to install, and which gives the version 24.04. But when I install with the latest version, when I try to install the Docker using the official documentation page, it will be installing version 27 point something. Okay, let me show you. Let me run the second command, this, and let's see. Okay, so this is done. Next step would be if I show you Docker -- version, you can see the version is 27, right, as compared to 24. So this is the latest version, which is the better thing. Next thing what we have to do, we have to make sure that Ubuntu user, which is also the user for like Azure pipelines, we need to give it permission. So how we can do, we need to run the command sudo, then user mod -a capital G Docker group, then Ubuntu user. Okay, and this is done. Next, what we have to do, we have to stop the agent one time, and we have to basically log out and log in. So what I'm going to do, disconnect and connect again. Okay, and we can go inside the my agent folder, and we can start the agent now. Okay, and yeah, it is running. We can go back to our pipelines, and we can write the next stage for our pipeline, which is going to be for Docker. Okay, now we have to write Docker stage, and for Docker, it might need the service connection, because we need to authenticate also with our Azure Container Registry. So for that, we can click on project settings, go to service connections, click on new service connection, search here as Docker, click on second option, Docker Registry, click on next, select Azure Container Registry, and authentication type, we can select service principal, the one that we just created, right? And here we have to log in again, I guess. Password we can put. And sign in. Okay, and here we can select the registry. Connection name you can give whatever you want. I can just go with docker-svc. Grant permission, click on save, and let's wait for this. This may take few minutes or few seconds, I guess, but yeah, let's wait for this. And again, team, yeah, okay, this is done. Docker svc. Yeah, again, team, I'm just saying that batch 7 is starting, and we have a coupon today, which is Shack 7. Okay, and make sure to register if you are interested, because it's going to be started on 2nd of November, going on for 2.5 months. So do not miss it if you want to learn. And yeah, so now coming back to the pipeline, where is it? Okay, so we have created the Docker service connection. We can go back to our pipeline, click on edit, scroll down, and here we can create the next stage. Hyphens stage, this is going to be Docker_build. and here we have display name. Inside that we can write docker score build. Then we have jobs colon, and here job, which is going to be docker underscore build, and same thing we can write in display also. Okay, and then we have the steps. Here we need to search for docker and select this container registry. We can select container repository. Here we can get the provide the name as just dev. Here I just want to build, docker file is present, tag will be latest. Okay, click on add. Now what I want to do, I want to basically check if this works or not, because we need to confirm, because if it is able to work, then what we can do, we can go ahead and scan this docker image as well. Okay, so okay, meanwhile, if this is going to work, what I want to do, I will make sure that I can add the 𝗵𝘁𝗶 stage now itself, so that we don't have to worry later. So I will copy this, come here, and here change the stage name, which is going to be image. Here we can change this to image formatable, and here report name also we need to change. And here instead of dot, we have to write the docker image name. So docker image name is going to be something like this. If I show you container registry, sorry about that, DevOps shack, first this /dev colon latest. This will be the docker image that we create. Okay, so we can try to run this one time and let's see if it works fine or not. If it works, then good, we can proceed, and if not, then we can go to the next step. Sorry, we can try to fix it. Sorry about that. Okay, you can see everything I'm writing from scratch, so that we can make sure that we are able to understand and write everything from scratch. So team, we have an error, and what exactly is the error? That it is unable to find the target folder. So basically, if I show you the docker file, we are copying the jar file from our target folder, right? And we have already ran the maven deploy command, so there should be this artifact available, but the problem that we are facing is that it is not available to the docker. So what I can do, I can go to docker stage. Okay, and here before running the task of docker, what I can do, I can add here as maven, or maybe we can simply add the cmd. I can run mvn package. What it's going to do, it's going to build the image, and it will make sure that, build the application and make sure that the jar file and target folder are available and accessible to docker stage. So I'll add this, and now we can try to run this again, and let's see how it goes. Again, it may take quite some time. So team, the pipeline is successful, and 𝗵𝘁𝗶 is also completed, 𝗵𝘁𝗶 scanning of the image. Okay, and docker image is also built. Okay, here we can see it is able to build. Fine. Next step would be what? To publish the docker image, right? So I can click on edit, and after this I can add the publish command. For that, I'll just copy this part, and I can here this will be docker publish. Same thing will be here, docker publish. Here also and finally here also docker publish. Okay, and here we have to write the stage that we can search here as docker. Container registry is this one, repository is div, and we want to push it. Okay, tags is latest, and we can add that. Okay, now let me save this. Okay, and just to confirm that docker image is created, we can go on agent machine. We can search here as docker images, and this docker image that we have, so we will copy this, go to our repository, go to YAML manifest files, edit this, and make sure to update the docker image to this one, the one that we just created. Okay, and here yeah, so now this should be fine, and we can commit the changes. Okay, and now what I want that after docker image is pushed, I want to publish the docker image or publish the YAML manifest file and deploy the application to AKS cluster. Okay, now so that is fine, and we can create the next stage, which is going to be deploying the application, and this will be deploy to K8, or we can write AKS. Okay, display name we can give okay. Then we have job here we can word name deploy to AKS. Okay, this seems fine to me. Something wrong, it's giving error. Let me copy from here actually. Here we can search for deploy to Kubernetes or something like that. Okay, so service connection for Kubernetes we have not created, right? So let me save this. Okay, 1 second. We'll go here, project settings, service connections, new service connection, and here let's search if we have some Kubernetes. And we have to log in, I guess. Password will be the one that we have created. Let's sign in. Cluster we can select the one that we just created. Namespace we can go with default, or you can create separate also, and we can go with this. And here I can provide the name as K8 connection. Okay, give access and click on save, and let's wait for this to complete. Okay, coming back here, so here let me see, we need to refresh the page, then only this will be visible. So I'll just save it and I will refresh the page. And now again we can search for Kubernetes, deploy to Kubernetes. This time it is available. Namespace we can go with default, or we can change it later on. Strategy you can choose canary or none. So as of now I'm going with none. Now manifest files. So we have to provide basically the file that we want to deploy, correct? So the file that we have is ds.yaml, and we can confirm that one time actually. Repositories ds.yml we have. Okay, yeah, we don't need to, yeah, image pool secret. So as of now we already created like ACR, which is connected to our AKS cluster, so this won't be an issue. And yeah, let's try this. So I have added this and click on validate and save. Now we can run this, and now we can confirm if it is working fine or not. So lots of stages we have added, and this will take some time. Okay, so let's wait for this. So team, we are in last stage and it's trying to deploy. So let's see how it goes. And in the error, in the logs, we can see that it is able to create the resources that we have defined. Okay, it's just completing it, and let's wait for this. Meanwhile, just to show you that inside our container registry that we created, you can see the latest tag is present because we have just pushed our Docker image. Okay, coming back here. So yeah, this is completed and push job is happening. That means our pipeline is successfully completed and we have deployed. Now how to confirm? So we can go on browser, we can go on Azure Cloud, go on Kubernetes services, open this Kubernetes service that we just created, and here you can click on workloads. Let me close this. Yeah, here you can see MySQL and bank app, these are created, correct? And let me open this, and we have the pod running, right? Now in order to access it, we have to open the cluster, click on service and ingresses. Okay, and here you can see for bank app service we have the load balancer created. This is the external IP where we will be able to access our application. So let me click on this, and as you can see, application is working fine. Okay, so this is how you can write complete full stack CI/CD pipeline from scratch that works perfect, and all the stages are properly written. Okay,